Hey YouTube, and welcome back to Mike's Mini Motors. So we're back to working on Brandon's Ruckus. On the last couple of rides, we noticed that this rear wheel looks like it's wobbling at lower speeds. After the first ride, we stopped and we checked, and everything was tight. So we thought, well, maybe it just looks that way. And then we did notice it again later, and you started to notice like a clinking sound or something too, correct?
Yeah, it's just initially when it starts, it kind of gives you, it almost seems like it's obviously trying to go low end, and it's just kind of clinking and before it gets going, and it's very difficult for me, because I know that when you start hearing that metal on metal, I stop riding it. So I got it over to Mike's house today so we can get this looked at.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll position the camera behind the bike with the garage door open, and so you can actually see. We'll start up the engine and let it run and get the wheel going and see if we can actually see the wobble in it. So let's get right to that. Alright, so as you've seen from the video from behind, there is actually a physical wobble in the tire. So we're going to start taking it down step by step and see where it's at. Like we'll get the wheel pulled off, run the hub by itself and see if there's still a wobble in it. And if there still is, then we'll pull the hub off and watch the axle by itself and see if there's wobble. So first thing we're going to do is we'll get this muffler off of here so that we can get the wheel off. Alright, so when we pulled the muffler off, we did need to pull the header and the bracket off too, but we did notice something that may already be the cause of our issue. The 3D printed hubcap that I made for Brandon and my bike looks like the heat from the brake has started to warp it and melt it. And so yeah, I'll grab the camera here in a second and I'll get you guys a closer look. You can see before we pull the wheel off. Mm-hmm. So let's get you a closer look. Alright, so here's the close-up of the wheel and the hubcap, and you can see like this section, let's see, get a little closer. They've all started to kind of deform. And I did print these out of PET G, which should have a bit higher tolerance for temperature, but I guess this was even higher than I was expecting. So we'll get this wheel pulled off and look at this hubcap and get it pulled off and see if that remedies our wiggle. So yeah, the temperature from the brakes and torquing down these lug nuts kind of destroyed this whole thing. But at least we know now not to make any more of these and sell them. Yeah, like I said, I thought the PET G material would have held up to the heat and stuff, but I guess not with the pressure and heat and all that. But another thing we did notice is you can kind of even see a little bit here, there's like some oil. But on the back side of the wheel we pulled off, there's oil here in quite a few spots. Like it had dripped out of something up here. So we're going to still go ahead and pull off this hub and look, because we may have found another issue we got to try to resolve. Alright, so we got most of the plastic off of there, but before we remove this hub, we're going to run it and see if it wobbles still. Oh yeah, we have no exhaust on here, so it's not funny. So I couldn't really see.
I didn't see any
wobble, so I think that was the culprit for that. But now we're gonna get this hub pulled off so that we can see where our oil gear oil or whatever it is coming from. Alright, so after some inspection and we cleaned up the brake dust and stuff like that, and we determined that we don't think the oil is coming from this side. We actually traced it to, let me see if I can get the lighted there. That hole right there, and it came out of there and ran down to the bottom here and then dripped on the wheel. And what we think it is when Brandon got this engine originally, the box had been toppled upside down all over the place. It was enough that it had cracked the valve cover and there was oil everywhere. And we just think that it was just some residual oil, since it's just like a pocket back there that just slowly kind of came out. So at this point, we don't think it's anything we have to really worry about. We cleaned it up some and we'll keep an eye on it. But now we can get the hub and everything back on there, and then our wiggle issue should be resolved. Alright, so we got the hub put back together. We cleaned all the old plastic and stuff from that hub off.
And off the backside of the tire too is it was actually burnt into the backside of the tire as well. So if you think you want to run a 3D printed hubcap, I wouldn't recommend it. We found out the hard way. So now we can go ahead and get the wheel bolted back on here, and the exhaust, everything bolted back up, and then we'll run it one more time to make sure that the wobble is out of the tire. And there's that little bit of like a clunking sound we were hearing, and I think what that was is since the plastic melted and kind of deformed, it left a little bit of a gap for some play in the wheel. And I also believe that that's the reason why, like in that one ride video, his lug nuts were loose and fell off. I think because they were tight and then the plastic melted. Yep.
And so it just
started at that point and then compiled, obviously, to be completely gone. I mean, as you guys can see from the video, basically everywhere the tire was completely melted. So that could have been even back when they fell off that first time.
Yeah, because
slowly started to melt. So
then we really torqued them on the last time when those fell off, and so I think then there was it was tight again, melted some more.
Yep.
And so hopefully those issues should all go away. And we'll find out here in just a moment.
Yep.
Alright, so the bike's back together, and just by moving the wheel even by hand, it looks about 1 billion times better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see really any run out in it, which is nice. But we'll go ahead and we'll move the camera real quick, get this thing started up, and see it at a little bit higher speeds too, and see how she looks. Alright, so as you can see in that video, the run out's pretty much gone. It looks way better. He should feel more comfortable taking this thing on the road.
Yep.
I know I'll feel more comfortable not seeing this wobble in front of me. I'm just glad that we identified that 3D printed hub could fail like it did, and so now I know to even pull it off of my bike, and I thought about selling them, and so now that's out the window. I don't want there to be a safety hazard out there at all.
Yep.
But now because it's gone, you can see the hub and the axle nut and all that kind of stuff.
All the beautiful parts of the inside we were trying to avoid anyway.
Yeah. And so Brent and I were looking online, and you can get just an aluminum kind of hubcap, and we were looking at FOP parts. They have them just a standard aluminum one, and then we might pick those up and anodize them to just keep with the theme of our bikes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the best part for me, obviously, as the rider of the bike, is not having to break my neck because I hear something weird. So sitting there trying to identify it, knowing that this is the problem after the teardown and everything that we did, knowing that it wasn't coming from the inside of the hub. I mean, we found the oil, but that little hole on the backside anyway, probably with that residual oil, like you mentioned in the video. So I feel much better about this whole thing, and I appreciate Mike busting back into this again. So that's really going to help my peace of mind riding this bike around. So
yeah. So if anyone else out there made a 3D printed hubcap, I'd get rid of it.
It could be like treacherous in the long run anyway.
Yeah. So all right, with that, we're going to go ahead and end this video. If you like what we're doing, give us a like, leave us a comment, you want to leave us feedback, or just tell us anything, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And with that, see you guys next time.